Welcome to Football as We See It. This is Floydie, the Seaside Geordie, and going down a bit of a different avenue today. We're going to go like stories of football. So join with me is a good friend of mine, Nick Coyle. Played football at various levels.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
How's it going, Nick? You all right?
Good, yeah. Thanks for inviting me onto the podcast.
No problem.
I know you've been doing a lot of hard work in the background, so yeah, obviously trying to get your views up, getting a superstar like me on the podcast.
Oh yeah,
No, more like a has been, I say.
Well, it's good to obviously football's a different sport nowadays, and from when we grew up, and so many kids now. You get to 6 years old, 5 years old, we're in school of excellences. They get dropped off. They get it just seems like
there's a lot of pressure on young kids now. Like I say, I mean, obviously from when I was a kid, my dream was to be a footballer. I think it was Italian 90s.
Yeah,
got me hooked.
Yeah,
with the Pavarotti and Gaza and stuff like that, and then from there, obviously, just wanting to, watching FA Cup finals, and it didn't matter because I'm a Man United fan, but obviously it didn't matter who was playing. But from being a young kid, I was just transfixed about playing at Wembley. Obviously, England won the World Cup there.
Yeah.
Man United won the European Cup there.
Yeah.
When I was a young kid, obviously, I went to see Blackpool in the playoffs
against
Torquay and Scunthorpe. Even went on a couple of school trips to watch England schoolboys.
Yeah,
but yeah, so for me, that playing for England, the first team would have been, scoring the winning goal in the World Cup final. That would have been
that's the dream.
I'd have been happy with that. But yeah, just to play for England, and play at Wembley, and as it sort of transpired that it was going to be the last ever England international at any level at the old Wembley Stadium before they knocked it down. So
okay,
that was my dream from being. Just I would have sold my soul to the devil himself, just to touch the grass, So exactly, just to get the opportunity to play there. But I mean, obviously that's a little bit further down the line. So my story, I started off at Blackpool, Centre of Excellence.
Yeah, how old were you about then?
Yeah,
what kind of age?
How old were you there? You joined there? I think you're like 12, maybe a bit younger. I was playing for YM and all, in the local leagues and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and then went to Blackpool, and then just.
Who was at Blackpool at the time? Like when you
who was what?
Who was manager? I know you were, but
I think the manager was Sam Allardyce, I think. Back then.
Okay.
And then they went through a few different managers. Neil Bailey was actually the youth team coach, and he went from Blackpool to Man United.
Right.
But yeah, so I was at Blackpool, and then I got released just before YTS, and then got a really bad injury on my cartilage, and my knee was in bad shape.
Yeah.
And luckily, my nana, she had a few quid, and she paid for the guy he's called Steve McLaughlin. He's the guy who did Paul Gascoigne's operation, and he did his knee against Forest.
Well, yeah.
So no expense spared. But I mean, there was a period, like I say, I went through a bit of heartbreak where I thought, I'm not going to play football again. I got released. I'd never had rejection before. Got released, and it wasn't a nice feeling. Then I did my knee, and I thought, I'm not going to play football again. And I remember my mum. I was upstairs in my mum's, living at my mum's house, obviously, only young, and crying my eyes out, unconsolable. My mum came upstairs. She said, "What are you crying for?" I said, "Well," I looked at her like she was from the moon. She's like, "What do you think I'm crying for?" That's it. I've been released. My knee's fucked, so I'm not going to play football again. She just said, "Dry your fucking eyes." Do you know what I mean? She said, "Just remember whose son you are. She'll play for England you one day." And I looked at her and I believed her, and it turned out she was right. So. But yeah, so from there, I still never gave up on the dream. So I ended up going through the back door, went to Morecambe, went to trials at Morecambe. Morecambe were in the conference at that time, so they weren't a league outfit.
Okay, so the old conference, and take it back then. Because we had it wasn't championship, was it? There was.
Oh, it's still the same, but it was so League Two is the next conference, isn't it?
Yeah, the old Division Two, Division One, Division Two.
Yeah, and then conference.
Yeah.
So I got a chance. Went for trials there. Jim Harvey was the manager.
And you were centre half.
Centre half, yeah. So I started off my career when I was young. Well, not my career, but when I was playing, I was a striker. Yeah. And then I just ended up moving back. Then I was a midfielder. Then I was a centre. I mean, if I kept playing, I was probably going to have been gold. So it was just
holding the camera behind the goal.
Yeah, yeah. So I just kept moving backwards. But yeah, I kind of found my position as a centre half. I mean, we were talking before. I mean, the way I used to play was not. I don't think there'd be any room for me in the modern game.
Real. real.
Well, yeah, I was just horrible. You know, I just go good in the air, strong in the tackle, get the ball, pass it, and I was
No messing.
I was very, very vocal and quite a good organizer.
Old school,
yeah, believe it or not. So the but yeah, that's where I used to play my football really. So I wasn't the most talented footballer, but I was good at playing football. I was a winner. I wanted to win.
Yeah, the determination. And there was an interview recently on the overlap with and Roy Keane stated like having discussions with Ian Wright. Tony Adams was saying wasn't the best
Yeah,
footballer,
technically,
but he wanted to win.
he's a good organizer. Yeah,
Yeah, and which we're saying that that's the downfall of Man United at the minute.
well, I think
no one wants, no one's like a Roy Keane. No one wants
you look around that team at Man United. There's no real leaders there. You know, like say Bruno's the captain. He's not the captain for me. When Maguire got given the armband,
is Maguire a captain?
No, he's not. He's not.
Is there anyone at Man United? Would you say?
For me,
if you were the manager now,
if it was me and he was fit every week, it'd probably Martinez.
Okay.
Because he's up for it, you know. He puts a tackle in. You can see him trying to drive the team.
Yeah.
Well, other than that, I mean, you look round and you think, you know, who's there? You know, Casemiro's legs have gone.
Is he got the leadership?
No,
about him?
I don't think so. No.
So I was saying, I was talking with Jebby on the last episode, and just to break off, because with the leaders, like you look at like Liverpool, like you've got Van Dijk, Andy Robertson, like people that
they've got leaders throughout the team, yeah, and like I say, the successful Man United team. You know, obviously Keane was the captain, but you still had Neville playing. You had Scholes who would take Schmeichel. You had Giggs who would take the armband. You know what I mean? Beckham, Ferdinand. You know, Vidic. You know, you had
these are like mountain.
Yeah, big proper players. But any one of them could, like say, it's a dressing room full of leaders. Whereas, you know, I see Man United and I see that Fernandes waving his arms around and pulling his face, and you know, he does all right against the shit teams for me, but then he pulls his face, and when it's time to go to war, he's not really up for it. So I think that's one of the issues at United. I mean, there's said it for a long time, but they need a massive player out there, you know, but they can't get him out because of the wages that they're paying him and the length of the contracts that they've got. You know, if he was, you know, Casemiro and what's he on 300 grand a week, and he's just going to see the rest of his days out there, and just, you know, so he's done everything in the game anyway, and he's Champions League. So yeah, so like I say, I mean, that was the kind of style I used to play. Just wanted to win, you know, say good in the air, strong in the tackle. I'm not the best footballer, but I was up for it.
So go on then, from Morecambe, you got
So anyway, so I went to Morecambe, went on trial, got in the team, and then ended up being captain of the youth team, and then then because it was part of a scholarship, I was captain of Lancaster Morecambe College. Then I went for trials for Lancashire, and I was captain of Lancashire under-19s. Then I ended up being captain of the reserve team at Morecambe, pushing through to get into the first team. But and then from Lancashire, they put me forward for trials for England, and anyway, and ended up getting whittled down for the squad for England. And I always remember pulling up at Lillishall, and
Lillishall's the old
it's the old centre of excellence. Yeah. But it's a centre of excellence for different stuff. There's gymnasts and there's all kinds of stuff. I've been
that with the Olympics kind of thing.
Yeah. But I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure what it is now, because it used to be.
George's.
Well, I think it's more pushed there for the centre of excellence for football for sure. But back in my day, Lillishall was a centre of excellence, and kids would go there and train there and stay there and stuff. But like I say, there's other stuff there, like gymnasts and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, when we get to Lillishall, and they're whittling the squad down to the final squad, like a 3 or 4 day session and or camp, if you want to call it. And the manager, Dave Cook, I remember he sat us in the auditorium and he said to us, "Did you think about playing for fucking England?" He said, "We're watching you all the time. It's not just about being a good footballer. You know, it's about representing this country and doing it right. You know, we're watching everything you do. We're watching you all the time." And so shortly after that, went to the room, and we're all going to the canteen where you get some food and stuff. And a few of the lads just streamed past, you know, rushing in to get some food. And I get to the door, and it's like a stately home, actually, Lillishall, best way to describe it. Big, beautiful grounds and stuff. But there was a glass door, and I could see there was some women waiting to get through the door. And all the other lads are pushing through and stuff like that. So I just put my arm out. I said, wait there, lads, you know. So I said, after you, ladies. Anyway, the women came through, but who I didn't see was stood behind him was the manager. And he's obviously seen you know, the way I was conducting myself. You know, I say I was brought up properly. So he just sort of looked at me and nodded as if to say, you know, I saw that. So, you know, after anyway, we're doing the sessions. He's whittled down, and we sat on the training pitch before the session. And the manager, he's walking in. We're all sat down, and he just said, "Look, you know, we're gonna pick the captain of England today." And he went, "Let that sink in." He said, "The captain of England. There's only one every year." He said, "Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?" And I just remember sitting there thinking, "That'll be me talking to me." So anyway, we did the session, and I'd forgot about, you know, I just did my thing. But I'd gone through a sequence of, you know, like you do your northern area trial, and then, you know, and it's like 3 or 4 different trials to get before you get to Lillishall, where they're whittling it down, because you can imagine every kid in the country wants to play for England.
Yeah.
So so anyway, after the session, I was just doing my thing, picking up some cones, and the physio, his name was Alan Gallivant, said the manager wants to speak to you. So I went over to the manager. I always remember the guy, because with it being England, there's selectors, and there was a chairman of selectors. I always remember his name was Alan Head, because he had like a big round head, so it was easy to remember. But so he was stood there with the manager, and he came and he said to me, he says, "We want you to be the captain of England, Nick." You know, and I just remember thinking, I said to him, I said, "I've been waiting for someone to ask me those words since I was 6 years old."
Yeah.
You know, going to be the captain of England. I said, "Yeah, absolutely." So I've never run as fast as I've never run as fast in my life to get back to the room, to where I could get on the phone. So I rang my dad first, told him that I was a captain. Rang my nana. I was living at my nana's house at the time, and she said to me, I rang her up. She said, "You're the captain, aren't you?" I said, "How do you know?" She said, "Well, what else would you fucking be?" You know what I mean? So she knew. And then I rang my mum, and I remember saying to my mum, you know, when I tore my knee, and I wasn't going to play football, and I thought I had no chance.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, "You know, when you told me I was going to play for England and being a captain, you were right, because I am." And, you know, she went bananas, my mum. So it was amazing. And then, but when you play for England, there was 7 internationals scheduled.
Okay.
And the first one was away in Northern Ireland, but the last one is the game against the showpiece, the final game at Wembley. Now, looking back, if somebody said to me, "Right, you can put the other 6 up and just play at Wembley," I'd have gone deal, because, you know, even though I wanted to play football every game, if somebody said, you know, these are your options,
yeah, definitely.
You know, because that's all I'd ever wanted to do my whole life. So so anyway, first game away in Northern Ireland in Armagh, and I was living at my nana's house, and my dad was away on the rig, so he couldn't come. Obviously, my nana and granddad were pretty old. My mum, she was busy working. So, you know, my first international for England, I was gutted, because I thought no one's going to watch me and all that. So anyway, gets to the hotel, does a training session, gets to the hotel, and after the session, I've rang my nana just to let her know I was all right and all that, in this little phone booth in the hotel, and I still remember my nana's number, 697-205, and it was like clockwork. She, you know, 2 rings, and she'd answer the phone anyway. So I rang my nana, rang. I thought something's not right here. So I rang my mum. I said, "You better get round to my nana's house. She's not answering the phone. You know, I thought something was wrong." So mum said, "Yeah, I'll go and check." So anyway, I went back to put the phone down, walked out, come into the hotel reception. Guess who stood there? My nana, my granddad, my Uncle Billy, my sister. She got chartered a private jet from Blackpool Airport.
Really?
Yeah. So anyway, we're in Armagh. Went out to sing the national anthem. Pitch was a fucking mess. I remember the manager saying before the game, he said, "We'll see if you're captain material tonight, Mr. Coyle." I said, "Yes, you fucking will." You know, I was up for it. You know, I was playing for England. But yeah, it was pissing down. The pitch conditions were fucked. We were getting beat 1-0, and we granted and that we were all outside, wrapped in blankets and what have you. And my first game, I scored the equaliser in 93rd minute.
Yeah.
On my debut. So at least they were there to see it. So that was a good start.
That's a memory, isn't it?
Yeah. And then we had a couple more games. So anyway, we get to the game against Wales, and it was 1 week before the game against I think the Wembley game against Hungary. And so I was at my nana's house, like I said, and then I remember waking up at my nana's house, and I've never been as ill in my life. So I was, like really ill. Daylight was, headache. I thought someone hit me in the head with a sledgehammer. It was bad.
Well, this come from just
out of nowhere, yeah. So you report with the squad a couple of days before you have the match, for a couple of training sessions and all that. But the game against Wales was in Wales, but we reported it to the back to Lillyshaw because it's only over the border where we used to Lillyshaw as a training camp place. So I remember waking up in the morning the day I was getting the train, and my nana came in the bedroom. She looked at me. She said, "You're going nowhere. You're fucking ill." And I was. I said, "Look, man, I love you to bits." I said, "But I'm in the captain. You know what I mean? And go and get me gear ready."
Yeah.
Because I thought, if I feel like shit now, I said to her as well, "Get me some sunglasses as well." Because daylight was honestly, I couldn't even see. I was in agony. I was poorly. But I'm thinking in my head, I've got 2 days. If it's half a sniff, I start to feel better. Which is, you get through it. Then
you can pull it around, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Strong-minded. So gets on the train, arrives at Lillyshaw, gets off from the train station. He had arranged for a coach for us, and gets off the coach, and the manager's there, and the doctor. There's a proper England doctor there from Harley Street, and the assistant manager and the physio and that. And I just got off the coach, said I'm not well. He's like, "What's up with you?" I said, "I don't know, but I'm not fucking well at all." So he said, "Right, come on, we'll put you to bed." So I think the doctor gave me a sleeping tablet, put me to bed, and trying, to get some rest. So the rest of the other lads were doing a training session, and accidentally one of the lads got his nose broken. So they got to take him to the hospital. So as a precaution, they've come and woke me up to take me to the hospital, which is the Royal Telford Hospital in Shropshire. But obviously, when you play for England, you've got all your England gear, and it was cold winter time. And on the back of the England jacket was capital letters ENGLAND, and I didn't realise how important that was going to be. So anyway, gets to the hospital in the A&E, and I sat there. The doctor said to me, "What's up with you?" I said, "I don't know, but I'm not well." And he said, "Oh, you'll be all right." Anyway, I remember the doctor turning around, and as he turned around, I just spewed up like the Exorcist. It was like this tube of projectile bright green vomit, like a big, and then I passed out. And whilst I was asleep, they give me a brain scan whilst I was out of it, and give me a lumbar puncture for suspected meningitis. So anyway, I didn't know anything about what had gone on at all. So I remember when I woke up, I remember opening my eyes, and the first face I saw was my mum's, and she was just stroking my face, and I didn't have a clue where I was or what had gone on. And what had happened is I'd left when they took me to the hospital. I left my mobile phone in the room at Lillyshaw. And she'd rang the phone to see if I was all right, and my roommate Tomo, he'd answered and said, "No, I just took him to hospital." And my mum had a pub in Preston at the time, and she got this psychopath to drive down the hard shoulder through the night to get to the hospital whilst to make sure, as fast as she could. So I've opened my eyes, and my mum was stroking my face, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I said, "Where am I, Mum? What's going on?" She said, "You're in hospital, son. You think you've got meningitis, and you're not well." So I'm in this private room. Anyway, I sat up, and at the bottom of the bed was the England doctor and two consultants or whatever they were from the hospital, the clipboard, and you could tell the body language was shit. You know what I mean? They were shaking their head. So I know straight away this game against Wales. I'm not playing for Wales. That's for England against Wales. That's gone. But what I did, what I'm thinking about straight away is I've got 1 week here.
The game
to play at Wembley, and there is never going to be another chance because they're going to knock it down. Do you know what I mean? And that's all my dreams, all my hopes and dreams. While watching, teams come out in FA Cup finals, and imagining what it looked like. I knew what the tunnel looked like in my mind's eyes. The vision, I was like a demented animal, just saying to myself, one day you'll be at the front of the queue, And so, like I say, there's no more chances here, and everything I wanted my whole dream, is about to get shattered badly. And so I sat up, and I could see the body language for these guys was shit. So I said to him, "Look, am I going to be all right to play football next week?" And the doctor from the Shropshire Hospital went, "Not unless you can pull off a miracle, young man." But behind him on the door was my jacket, and all I could see was ENGLAND. And I thought, I'm in the captain. I said, "Fucking not having it." So I looked at him and I said, "Mum, get me out of this fucking bed. Get me out of this bed."
So what was it? It
was a viral infection, but it was suspected. And I was fucking ill as fuck, badly. And I was still, when I, obviously this is, I was, when they're telling me, not unless you can pull off a miracle, I'm about 20% of myself. I was fucked still.
Yeah.
So I said to Mum, "Get me out of this bed, Mum, now. Get me back out of this bed. Get me back home." My mum said to me, "No, I'm not doing it, son. You're not well enough." And that, the mother's instinct. She said, "You're not well enough. I'm not doing it." So I said, "Mum, I said, listen, I don't give a fuck." I said, "Get me out of this bed." I said, "I'll tell you what, get my nan on the phone. She'll get me out of the bed, right? If you don't want to do it on your head, don't bother." So get me nan on the phone, and she'll get me out of this fucking bed. Mum went, "Right, I'll ring your nana." I said, I don't think you're well enough." I said, "Get me fucking nan on the phone. Get her down here." So anyway, about 3 hours later, I could hear her before I could see her. My nana, she's 5 foot fuck all, absolutely round the bend. Grown men with no teeth, scared to death of her. She was a force of nature. So I could hear her like, "Where's my fucking grandson?" Anyway, she's coming. She's gone, get my grandson out of that fucking bed now." 10 minutes later, I'm wrapped in an orange blanket in the back of my granddad's fucking Shogun on the way back to my nana's house. Anyway, got to my nana's house. She put me in her bed. She fed me. She watered me. She said, "I'm going to will you out of it. I'm going to will you to get better. You just meet me halfway." I said, I will. So, anyway.
What did we say at this point? Leaving Lillishore and all that?
So I'm back at they played the game against Wales. I'm back at my nana's house trying to get better, trying to speed.
Was that your contact with the manager and that?
Yeah. Well,
get yourself sorted.
Yeah, I didn't even speak to him at this point until I got back, and with my nana and all that. The doctor at the hospital from England was there as well,
right?
So he would have passed on that information. So anyway, I gets back to, and so this is a day before the reporting with the squad to go to London. The England manager rang me up. He said, "How are you feeling?" I said, "Listen," I said, "if I've got to crawl on my fucking hands and knees, I'm coming to report with the squad tomorrow." And he said to me, "Well, that's why you're the captain." He said, "Get yourself on the train. We'll see how you feel when you get here." And so anyway, at this point, a reporter from the Blackpool Gazette had come round, and his willpower was my medicine was the title, to get fighting fit back. But to be honest with you, I was probably still about 75% of being who I knew I shouldn't be for this kind of occasion. And anyway, we gets to the I'm on the train, gets to Buckinghamshire, stayed in a big swanky hotel, gets bags off, then we go and do a training session at Bisham Abbey, which is where the old England team used to do the training sessions.
Okay.
Which is like where Gazza used to do it and all that. He's pissing in the holes and all that. That's at Bisham Abbey. So the rest of the lads went and did their own training session, and I just had the assistant manager and the physio, and they're just throwing balls in the air for me to head, because obviously meningitis affects your brain and stuff like that. So they just wanted to see if I had coordination and it wasn't, heading footballs wasn't doing me any harm. Very, very light session for me. So anyway, after the game, the manager came up to me, he said, "How are you feeling?" I said, "I'm playing fucking football tomorrow. That's how I'm feeling." So anyway, he gets back to the hotel, had a swim and a sauna, and then we had a meal. And the manager, just before the desserts come out, he said to us, "After you've had your desserts, lads, up to the conference room, we're going to name the team."
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it. Do you know what I mean? I went straight up to the conference room, sat at the front, in the middle, crossed my legs and just stared at the door, just waiting for him to come in. I thought, I fucking dare you not to name me in this team. So anyway, he's come in, he's locked eyes on me, and he's got me number 4 captain, Nick Coyle, going to lead the team out, give you 10 minutes. I said, that'll do. So I didn't even let him finish what he said, because I thought I need every minute here of rest. So I just got up, walked out, went downstairs, went to my room and got in bed. So anyway, when I woke up in the morning, I woke up and I knew I was back.
Yeah.
I felt like myself. I'd done everything I could to get back. And anyway, so he gets on the coach, police escort through red lights, pulls up, gets to Wembley. I mean, it was like, it was fully policed. I think there was about 60,000 people there, from all kinds of different, schools and schoolboys and all this kind of 60,000. So we pulls up, and because there's other things happening there, walking around signing autographs for kids and all that, all blazing up and what have you. And there was I think it was a wagon wheel tournament. So you have to do the warm up in the tunnel. So I'm doing the warm up in the tunnel, and the manager went, "Nick, your dad's outside." Now my dad had not seen him for 3 weeks. He'd been working on the rigs, and he'd had to write for special permission to come and see me and all that.
Okay.
And I love my dad to bits, but he's always been pretty critical. It's the voice of critic.
Now. Right.
So anyway, so gets to the door at the tunnel, and there's 3 or 4 police officers, and this policewoman said, "Is that your dad?" And I said, "Yeah." So I've stepped outside and my dad was stood there. My dad's a big fucking fella. He's like 6'2". His arse was up to the nines. And he couldn't even speak. His eyes bloodshot red. He couldn't even fucking speak. So I'm like, say, "Are you all right, Dad?" And he just couldn't even speak. And he looked at me. He said, "This is it, son. This is fucking it." I went, "Yeah." I went, "Strap yourself in." So yeah, I've gone back in, sat in the dressing room. And anyway, one of my superstitions, because I'm right-handed, I always used to wear the captain's armband on my right arm. And I used to make the manager put it on before I went out, just to let the transition of who's in charge now.
Yeah.
So anyway, the bell's gone, and there we are. So we're in the tunnel, and the tunnel looked exactly how I envisioned it in my mind's eye. We're walking up the tunnel. I mean, I was fucked a week ago. They're telling me I wouldn't have done it unless I pulled off a miracle, and I was there at the front of the queue where I envisioned myself, and I dreamt about from being a young lad, And the football's coming home was a song, and there's England flags, 60,000 people going around the bend. I remember I was ready to get out there, and the steward stopped me. I was like, "What are you fucking doing? Stop! Let me get." I could have pulled the heads off 10 Bengal tigers. You know what I mean? It was fucking electricity coming out of my fingernails. It was the most unbelievable feeling in the world. And I was literally achieving my dream. Do you know what I mean? And I wanted to. I was raring to go. Anyway, they changed the tune to the March of the Gladiators.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm up for it. Like, I was fucking raring to go. So I've come out. I could see my dad and my dad's side of the family, and my granddad and all my aunties and uncles and all that. And then I see my nan and granddad who were in the royal box behind, where you get the FA Cup and all that.
Okay, yeah.
They've got the best seats because obviously I was the captain. So my nan and granddad up there, and my sister. But I remember walking out, and I remember thinking, "Where's my fucking mum?" I couldn't see my mum. So anyway, Peter Shilton, he was the guest of honour. Obviously, the most captain player of all time. So I'm introducing him to the team. Then we sang the national anthem. I remember and I was next to the referee. And I remember I was that eager to get going. The referee saying to me, "I hope you're better at football than you are at singing." Do you know what I mean? I was way in front of the thing. I was just ready to go. So anyway, the game's kicked off. Initially, they said, they're going to give me 15 minutes. I was like, "Yeah, all right."
You never leave him a bitch, will you?
No, wild horses would have dragged me off. You had to kill me to get me off there. You'd have had to. If they'd put my number up to come off, I wouldn't have come off. It would have come on them.
What was it? Him at Chelsea, the goalkeeper just now.
Yeah. But anyway, so we're about 25 minutes into the game, and the keeper hurt his leg, so I had to go back and take a goal kick. And I've gone back, and the goalkeeper said to me, he said, "Nick, has your mum got red hair?" I went, "Yeah." And he went, "She's over there, and she was on the wrong side of the ground."
All right.
But out of 60,000 people, she was shouting the fucking loudest. So anyway, I've seen her, so now I'm at peace with it. Anyway, it gets to half time, sat in the dressing room.
Is it now?
0-0. Yeah. Sat in the dressing room at half time, and I could see the manager. I said, "Listen," "just let me start." I said, "I'm not coming off. Forget about it. It's not happening. So even think about it. I'm good." Right. So anyway, comes out for the second half. And it's bizarre, Wembley, because when the ball goes out of play, you realise where you are. But when you play it, it's just a pitch. Do you know what I mean? You're there to win, and it's unbelievable. But I was loving it. I loved every second of it. So anyway, we end up getting beat 1-0. It was a slip of the glove by the keeper, and they were a good side as well, obviously. But anyway, the final whistle goes. So I went over to the opposite side. Now, all the rest of the lads had gone over to the side, where you get the FA Cup up that side. But I'd gone over to the opposite side to get my mum, to tell the steward to get my mum and that to come to get her over, because there's drinks and stuff after on the opposite side. So my mum had an England flag and she gave it me anyway. I got this England flag, she gave it me. Told the steward said, "I'll sort it out." But so I was the only England player there on that side, and I got the England flag, and I just did the length of the opposite side on my own with his flag, and there wasn't one person not on the feet clapping, because they'd seen how hard I tried.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And everyone was on the feet. It was an unbelievable feeling. So anyway, goes up, leads the team, gets my England cap off Peter Shilton, and anyway, I always remember. So the dust had settled a little bit, and I remember lying down at the end, and I put the England flag over me like a sheet, like a duvet, and led right in the middle of the centre circle. I remember looking up to the sky, and it hit me like a juggernaut, and I thought to myself, "What the fuck are you going to do now to beat that?" And to be fair, I'm still looking.
Some achievement.
Yeah. So that's it. So that was one of the.
You hit your top, you hit your dream.
Yeah,
you did what you wanted to do.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I say, I mean, it's who. Sometimes it kind of peaked at that. And I thought, I thought it was. I'd maybe looking back, I set my bar too low, because if I hadn't got in the team, I would have still been relentless. It was. Yeah. It was like when you achieve a dream, and I remember just thinking, what are you going to do now to beat that feeling? Because I hadn't legislated for the aftermath. You know what I mean? So I think there's some truth to that. And the goalkeeping coach, he said to me, he used to call me Skip, and he said there's only two feelings you're ever going to feel. One is when you get your England cap, and the other one's when your first child gets born. And it was pretty true, because I remember when Alfie was born. Yeah, but I think there's a mixture. Let's say when you get your England cap, it's just sheer elation, and there's no feeling like it. But when you obviously child's born, you're excited, but they keep that bit quiet when the worry that you get. You think, fuck, I wouldn't worry about it forever. Nobody mentions that bit, or they don't mention it enough anyway. So yeah, so that was my story.
Wow. Good one, isn't it? Really? Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said,
it's enthralling. Pulled us right in. Like, it's not many times you're going to hear, like you say, the passion. Like everyone wants. A lot of younger people will keep trying to go, won't we, and stuff. But you openly admit there, from day one, you had a dream.
Yeah.
And you hit that, and then you see that in sports. Yeah. Like, look at what happened to Tyson Fury after he beat Klitschko. He won everything he possibly had, and thought, what have I done this for?
What did you do? With every great high, there's a huge, massive low that follows it.
Then it's your age, it's your life, it's growing up still. You're like in an area like from Blackpool, and with the surroundings.
There's a lot of dynamics to being. Like I say, you've got to be dedicated. You've got to want to do it.
Well, look at Cristiano Ronaldo.
I was speaking to one of my mates' sons who's really talented, but his heart's not in it. He doesn't want to do it. So you can't make people want to do it. But when I look back and
any regrets?
There are some, obviously, like you're not. Again, remember sitting with my mum, watching the Italian '90 World Cup, and my dream was to score the winning goal in the World Cup final. So I didn't do that. So yeah, I regret not doing that.
Yeah, but
But yeah, I regret not going further than I did. But again, it's.
Is there a point where you think you could have changed and done something different? Like,
I think so.
But Wembley, is there a point where
I think so?
Or is it like managerial, like we spoke about? Different managers come in at our preferences.
Like I say, I was in the same youth team as Ricky Lambert at Blackpool, and he got picked at the same time as me. And then he went up to Macclesfield, then he went to Bristol, then he went to Southampton, and then they ended up getting bought back by Liverpool and played in the World Cup and scored on his England debut for the first team. Yeah. And when we were playing together, there wasn't a difference between us. But again, I think the rejection that he suffered, and then the rejection I suffered, and the willingness to keep going. I think with if I'm honest, wanting to. That was my dream, to play at Wembley, and then not planning for what's the next bit. I kind of took my foot off the gas. And I think that could have been detrimental. But I mean, who knows if the world's full of what ifs, nearly, should have, almost, maybe. So I try and avoid those kind of words. Honestly, yeah. But at the end of the day, I can sleep at night. I was the last ever England captain at any level to lead an England team out at the old Wembley before they knocked it down, and it's a chapter in the book.
Yes, perfect. Wow. Well, that's a perfect note to leave it on that then. And that's brilliant. Good conversation. Good stories. Good.
Thanks for having me.
Great to know, obviously.
I didn't realise that many people would be interested in, but
honestly, like with just football in general, like UK, Europe, the world, there's billions of people out there, and there's billions of people that have been in situations like yourself, and that best thing I ever did. I had to pay to play a charity game at St James's Park. Apart from that, the other game at Fleetwood Town, then the rest of my life was on Moor Park and Common Edge.
Yeah. No, but like you say, I mean, when football's your passion and that's your dream, and like say any young kids listening, stick at it. Keep your discipline, because it's easy to get sidetracked, especially in the modern. I mean, it was easy when I was young, but it's easy to get led astray. And keep your discipline, keep your dream, keep your focus, and don't give up. That's probably the best advice I could give to anyone.
Yeah, definitely. Right, we'll leave it at that then, and obviously there's going to be a lot more stories to come. Cheers, Nick.
My pleasure,
Thanks very much for that.
My pleasure.